All right, let's talk about the future of your power bill. And I mean, let's really talk about it. Picture a world where you could sell the extra power from your solar panels directly to your neighbor. Or, get this, get paid just for dialing back your electricity use for a few minutes. We're going to dive into a groundbreaking new framework that could make all of this happen, turning you from just a consumer into a real player in the energy game.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if that extra juice your solar panels are making on a sunny day didn't just go back to the utility company for a tiny credit? What if you could sell it to the family down the street who's charging their EV at a price you both agree on? That simple idea, my friends, is the heart of what we're talking about today: peer-to-peer energy trading. So, here's the game plan for today. We're going to start with the big challenge our grid is facing right now. Then we'll meet the hero of our story, the prosumer. After that, we'll check out this new marketplace for neighbors and the all-important safety check for the grid. Then we'll get into the really cool part, trading something called power flexibility. And finally, the big payoff, what this all means for your wallet and the planet.
Okay, so first things first, why do we even need a whole new system? What's broken? Well, ironically, the problem we have is actually a good problem to have, but it is definitely a problem.
You see, all these new solar panels and wind turbines, what the experts call distributed energy resources, or DERs, are fantastic for green energy. But our power grid? It's old school. It was designed for a simple, one-way street, from a big power plant straight to your house. Now, with power being generated all over the place, that one-way street has become a chaotic two-way intersection. And that chaos can cause things like voltage drops or congestion, literally a traffic jam for electricity, which puts the whole system at risk.
So this huge challenge, well, it creates the need for a new kind of hero, and that hero might just be you. Let's meet the main character in this new energy story.
It's a funny-sounding word, right? Prosumer. It's just a mashup of producer and consumer. And if you have solar panels on your roof, congratulations, you're already a prosumer. You make your own power, you use what you need, and you've got the potential to share the rest. This whole new framework is designed to empower you, the prosumer, to take control. So how do we actually empower all these prosumers? Well, the first step is you've got to give them a place to do business. And this is where the first of two special markets comes into play. This is honestly the best way to think about it. Instead of one giant utility company setting all the prices, this peer-to-peer or P2P market lets regular people buy and sell power directly with each other. It's decentralized, it's transparent, and it lets you shop around for the best deal, just like you would at a farmer's market. And what's really cool is how it's structured. You might be part of a local community or neighborhood group, but in this P2P market, you can trade with anyone on the platform, even people in different communities. This opens things up, right? It creates a bigger, more competitive space where a seller with extra solar can easily find a buyer who needs power, all done securely. Okay, so we've got this awesome free-for-all where everyone is trading energy. It sounds fantastic. But there's a pretty big catch. We have to make sure that all of this buying and selling doesn't accidentally, break the actual physical grid. So we need a supervisor. And that's where the distribution system operator, or DSO, comes in. Just think of the DSO as the traffic cop for the local power grid. Their job isn't to buy or sell energy. Their job is to watch all the traffic and make sure all those trades that people agreed to can actually happen safely without causing blackouts or those nasty voltage drops we talked about.
And that right there is the million-dollar question. What does the traffic cop do when they see a huge traffic jam about to happen? They can't just tell everyone to go home. No, this is where the system gets really, really clever. This is where the second, and maybe the most important part of the whole framework kicks in. The system takes what would be a crisis for the grid and turns it into a market opportunity. It creates a second, totally separate marketplace that is designed for one thing and one thing only: solving physical grid problems. So this isn't some 24/7 stock market for energy. It only pops into existence when it's needed. When the DSO's computers predict a problem, like a line is about to get overloaded, it triggers this special market. The DSO doesn't just cut the power, it goes shopping for a solution. And what is it shopping for? It's buying something called flexibility. Now, this is a key idea. Flexibility is a service. It's your ability as a prosumer to say, hey, for the next 15 minutes, I can use a little less power, or I can ramp up my solar output a bit. By doing that, you help fix a problem on the grid exactly where it's happening. And the best part? You get paid to do. So here's how that auction works. The
The DSO sees a problem brewing in a specific neighborhood. It then sends out a request to the prosumers in that area saying, hey, I need to reduce demand by X amount, and I'm willing to pay this much. Then, people in that community can put in bids to help out. It's this back and forth process where the price gets adjusted until enough people volunteer their flexibility, and poof, the grid problem is solved.
So, we've got two markets working together, one for trading energy between neighbors and another for selling stability services back to the grid. It sounds brilliant on paper, right? But the real question is, does this thing actually work? Well, researchers put this exact system to the test. They simulated it using data from a real-world power grid in Sweden with 10 prosumers. And the results they got were pretty incredible.
Here it is. This is the number that should make you sit up and pay attention. Prosumers who took part in both markets, trading their power and selling their flexibility, saw their net energy costs drop by an average of over 17%. That is not a small chunk of change. That's a huge reduction in their bills, all from actively participating in the grid.
But it wasn't just about saving money. It was about making the entire grid healthier and safer. You see, without this flexibility market, the simulation showed that grid voltage would often dip into unsafe levels. But once the market was turned on, the DSO could just buy the exact amount of flexibility it needed to keep the voltage right in that stable, happy zone for everybody.
And it was the exact same story with those electricity traffic jams. Without the market, power lines were constantly getting overloaded, hitting 100% of their capacity. That's a recipe for an outage. But with the flexibility market in play, the DSO could pay people to adjust their energy use just enough to smooth out the flow and keep those lines from ever getting maxed out.
So let's just zoom out for a second. Why does this really matter? Well, for one, it empowers you, the homeowner, with solar panels, giving you a totally new way to make money from your investment. 2, it lowers energy bills for everyone who participates. 3, it creates a much more stable and reliable local grid for the whole community. And 4, and this is a big one, it actually allows us to add more renewable energy to the grid because now we have a smart way to manage its unpredictability. And that is the real genius here. It takes the biggest headache of renewable energy, the instability, and it flips it completely on its head. It's no longer just a problem. It becomes a paid service that regular people can offer, creating a new source of income and a smarter, more stable grid for all of us.
You know, it's a pretty powerful vision for the future, isn't it? A decentralized grid focused on communities where we're all active partners working together to build a cheaper, greener, and tougher energy system. The technology exists, the blueprint is there. The only question now is how fast we can make it our reality.